Remember to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. As a horror aficionado, um, I've watched my fair share of slasher films. Both Time Cut and Totally Killer left me wanting more. While they have their unique elements, neither can compete with the standards set by classics like Friday the 13th or Halloween. As winter approaches, days grow shorter and uh, frost fills the air. Before we dive into the cozy Christmas season with its irresistible cookies, let's first enjoy the chilling atmosphere of Halloween, complete with screams, chase scenes, and the brave final air girl outwitting a masked killer. Who doesn't love a classic slasher movie? Uh, Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street effectively create tension by revealing the masked weapon wielding killer and his victims. Uh, However, the newly released slasher film Time Cut featuring Madison Bailey from Outer Banks and Antonia Gentry from Jenny and Georgia has faced criticism for being overly similar to the 2023 slasher movie Totally Killer, starring Kiernan Shipka, due to its use of time travel within the genre. So, is it possible that Time Cut copied elements from Totally Killer? Um, Time Cut and Totally Killer share the same plot. The thriller series Totally Killer on Prime Video revolves around the notorious Sweet 16 killer, who resumed his murderous rampage 35 years after his initial spree. Um, Disregarding her mother's caution, Jamie found herself confronting this deadly predator mate. However, instead of meeting a tragic end, she inadvertently travels back to the 1980s and teams up with her own teenage mom to prevent the killer from causing harm in the first place. For those who have watched Time Cut, they might find themselves recognizing several elements at the moment. Um, um, like Totally Killer, Time Cut revolves around a young girl named Lucy who unexpectedly discovers a time machine. She journeys back to 2003, uh, mere days before her elder sister and several other teenagers were claimed by a serial killer. Uh, in a similar fashion to Totally Killer, Lucy joins forces with her sister in an attempt to halt the murderer, rescue the potential victims, and ponder the possible consequences of their actions on the future, which may unintentionally lead to undesirable outcomes. While the striking resemblances between Time Cut and Totally Killer are undeniable, it remains uncertain if the former is a deliberate imitation of the latter. Is Time Cut a Totally Killer ripoff? Since the unveiling of the trailer for Time Cut and the subsequent release of the movie on October 31st, 2024, a lively comparison between this film and Totally Killer, set to debut in 2023, has been underway, and the basis for this comparison and ongoing discussion about these horror films is quite justifiable. Upon initial observation, it seems both movies have sparked a significant stir in the film industry due to their close release dates. Initially, given the close timing and similarities between the two films, uh, it seemed logical to assume that Time Cut was a copy of Totally Killer. However, contrary to appearances, Time Cut was actually filmed in 2021, but not released until 3 years later. Therefore, it's impossible for Time Cut to have been a ripoff of Totally Killer, um, as it came out after The Ladder of the Sea. Um, Interestingly, despite an initial poor reception on Rotten Tomatoes, Time Cut managed to climb its way into Netflix's top 10 movies. The generic killers in Time Cut and Totally Killer, uh, regarding the two movies, Time Cut and Totally Killer, while they share a similar storyline and structure, there's one common problem that is quite frustrating. Both of these films are like slasher movies, typically characterized by stalking, chasing, and brutally killing a group of people in a disturbing manner. Additionally, the serial killer usually conceals himself behind a terrifying mask, and exudes an overall menacing presence. However, it appears that neither Time Cut nor Totally Killer were aware of this memo, as they seem to deviate from these established conventions in some way. In simpler terms, the villains in both the slasher movies on Prime Video and Netflix seem disappointingly unoriginal. Their masks, reminiscent of everyday items, and their friendly demeanor fail to instill fear. Slashers have a unique opportunity to design iconic masks that become popular culture symbols, such as Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre or the hockey mask from Friday the 13th. However, the villains in Time Cut and Totally Killer fall short creatively and lack originality, making them forgettable. The killings are unclear. There's little to no gore, and they don't scare or shock viewers. C, is Time Cut better than Totally Killer? However, in the grand slasher film tradition, the movie fails to deliver. Time Cut misses an opportunity to fully flesh out a particular aspect. It's important to remember that Lucy's sister isn't the only victim in this serial killer narrative. Regrettably, the film does not provide much depth for these other teenage characters whom Lucy attempts to rescue. This lack of character development results in viewers feeling little emotion when these characters are killed because they remain unfamiliar and quickly fade back into obscurity as soon as they're introduced and killed. In Totally Killer, the movie, the portrayal of the secondary characters was significantly improved. There's ample screen time dedicated to establishing these other victims, allowing for the audience to learn their names, characteristics, preferences, and even their emotional sides. This results in a stronger connection between the viewers and the characters, making their eventual deaths not just an ordinary scene, but one that resonates with the audience emotionally. Concerning the killings, neither of these films delivers the gruesome, intense sequences that viewers expect from an authentic slasher movie. Instead, they tend to abruptly switch scenes, right, as things are getting gory. Additionally, both movies appear to rush through the final girl's ordeal, skipping essential elements and opting for a quick resolution. In essence, Totally Killer could potentially provide a more immersive viewing experience overall, because it delves deeper into the characters and doesn't brush them aside as if they hold no significance. And you know, however, neither Time Cut nor Totally Killer are revolutionary slasher films that will attain the same level of iconicity as Friday the 13th and its contemporaries. Yet they remain entertaining choices for a fun movie night, sitting stream Totally Killer on Prime Video, and Time Cut on Netflix. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.